To Friday's Q&A, where you get to ask me anything regarding health, fitness, nutrition, any other topics, where I try to provide you with as much value as possible. And by you asking me questions, you're effectively helping somebody else get their questions answered, because I guarantee you, if you have any kind of single question, at least 100 other people watching this live stream have the same exact question as you do. And before I get into this, if you're watching me on the live right now, just drop a number 1 down below in the comments. Or if you're watching me at a later time on the replay, type number 2 down in the comments below so I know when you saw this video. So the way it's going to work is I will see all of your questions and comments on my screen. I will pick the question that is the most relevant, and I can't guarantee I'll get back to everybody, but I'll try to get back to as many people as I possibly can. So write down your questions in the comments. I'll pick one and we'll get this going. And the point of this is to provide you with as much value as possible and just help you get some questions answered to get you on the right goal with health, fitness, maybe something else that you're going through that you want a bit more support on. That's the goal of this. What's up, Mercy? Cool. Got questions right off the bat. So Ashley asks, is cycling a good way to get steps in? If so, how many miles to get to 10,000 steps? So the mileage, and so first of all, cycling is amazing, whether it's a stationary bike, whether it's outside, mountain biking, and you can't really relate it to a specific mileage based compared to step count. I would say to just pick a time frame that you want to cycle for. Maybe it's 30 minutes and consistently hit 30 minutes every single day and see how your weight fluctuates, see how you feel, and maybe amp it up to 35 minutes consistently going forward after maybe about a week or so. But there's no clear relation between steps. Like 10,000 steps is this much cycling, because the speed of the cycling goes into effect your body weight, your intensity, the ground, maybe the uphills, all that kind of stuff. So you can't really compare both equally, but cycling is an amazing form of cardio, especially a stationary bike. Is it okay to have a mini Coke twice a week, trying to wean off of substitutes with sparkling water? If you want a mini Coke, so no kind of soda is directly bad for you. It's just it has a lot of calories, pretty much calories that don't fill you up, that are very, very high in sugar. Not saying sugar is bad, but it's going to be very high in calories. And if you're diabetic, it's going to be more complicated if you just have a lot of soda and juices in your diet. So if you want to have a small Coke because you want to, by all means do it. If you want to do a Coke Zero, a Diet Coke, a Diet Sprite, whatever it is, have it. Make that choice for yourself. Just know that the most important thing is a caloric understanding, calorie understanding. That's a good question. Why do I say stay away from nuts? I got a lot of hate. So I made a video a few days ago saying what foods you should limit. And in this video, I said the foods you should limit, like almond butters, peanut butters, nuts, almonds, maybe even salmon, maybe even guacamole, avocado, for example. And I got a lot of hate for people telling me, oh, these foods are healthy. You should keep eating them. First of all, I never said eliminate food. That's what people don't understand. I never said eliminate. I said limit. There's a big difference. Now, you don't want to eliminate any specific food in your diet because you don't want to have a huge craving for that food. So moderation is key. What I said was limit these foods, and the foods I was referring to are very highly caloric, calorie-dense foods, being nuts. Yep, nuts are definitely healthy. Almond and peanut butter, sure, it's got healthy fats in there. Oils, even the healthiest oil in the world, you should still limit it because you can eat nothing but chicken and breast and broccoli or salmon every single day and still gain weight. Yeah, it's healthy food, but there's still calories in all the food. And the food choices I mentioned are very, very high in calories. Put this into perspective. Let's say that you have a handful of almonds that you want to eat mindlessly. You walk by your kitchen and grab a handful of almonds. It's okay, it's healthy. You walk by 2 hours later, grab a handful of almonds. You do this 3-4 times a day. You think to yourself, it's healthy, I can eat it, it's fine. It definitely is healthy, but how many calories do those 3-4 handfuls of almonds have in them? Definitely a few hundred. So if your goal is to lose weight, your calorie management is the most important factor regarding your entire journey and process. So by eating these foods that are very high in calories, be still healthy, you're still not doing yourself a favor because you could be using these calories more wisely by eating food that's larger in volume and small in calories. So when I said limit nuts, I never said eliminate it. You should just be aware that they have a lot of calories in them, and especially peanut or almond butter. You take you read the label on the back. It says 1 tablespoon or whatever it is 190 or 200 calories. First of all, the tablespoons that normal people take, they're not weighed out exactly what the nutrition facts say. Usually it's probably 200, 300 calories without us even thinking about it, because who's going to actually weigh out the butter? Not a lot of people. So you want to limit it, because if you limit it, you understand that this food is very high in calories, and you should just understand that when you're trying to lose weight, calories are the most important thing. So if you're going to choose to eat nuts, almonds, uh, oils, the healthiest oils in the world, just understand that calories are the only thing that makes you gain fat. So limit it, don't eliminate it, just limit it. Hopefully that explains it. How do you help myself with training for the NFL? That's awesome. So you should definitely hire somebody that does sport specific training for people that are trying to reach a certain sport specific goal. You should also hire somebody to do your nutrition, because people that do very sport specific trainings are probably, they should be focused at that. So you should probably hire somebody else to do your nutrition that will be based around your goals. But hiring people that are very, very sport specific people, coaches, are crucial, because you have to do certain drills. You can't just do regular workouts if you're trying to get better at, let's say, the combine or the NFL. You got to do drills that'll get you better at that. So hiring very sport specific coaches is extremely important. Keep asking me your questions. You have a trainer offering a 12-week program of walking, doing stuff like that food menu for 3K online, where I do it. So when you're looking at different prices for coaches, nutritionists, whatever it is that you're doing, a lot of times you should look at the success and what the doing the program is going to make you feel, regardless of the price. First of all, the price should be something that's obviously doable for you, but you can't really put a number on a pound, because pounds are very irrelevant here, because it's what your goal is going to make you feel like. What things can you do once you reach your goal? Different coaches have different prices. I have my own different prices, and it's what this means to you. What will you get out of reaching your goal out of this program? Is it sustainable? You should understand that if the program you're doing is not sustainable by doing crazy, maybe it's very high calorie restrictions, maybe it's following somebody's um, meal plans to the T, that's probably not that sustainable. So you should look at different factors of a program. Like my own program, we do very sustainable nutrition. We do very sustainable things that aren't crazy, which is why my clients, I tell them every single time, my goal is to help you keep the weight off by making the entire process sustainable and as simple as possible, so that once your program is over, you don't need me to tell you what to do. You don't need to rely on my choices for you, because you understand what to do, because you got to your goal without crazy restrictions, uh, good or bad mentality. Like I can eat this, I can't eat that. It should be sustainable, and you should get a decent amount of education from the program to help you keep your progress for as long as you feel that you want to keep it for, and have the freedom to actually maintain the progress for as long as you choose to. That should be a program, in my opinion. But everybody's different. I'm not going to tell somebody else how to run their program. That choice is up to them. But if you're trying to choose a coach, I would suggest to look at different details of the program. Maybe what will you achieve after it, and the sustainability of the program, if that's what you want to achieve. Yeah, Coke Zero is amazing. How much should you walk a day, and should you try to increase like weekly or so? Also, I recommend lifting as well. How much you should walk every day? So an average of like 6 to 10,000 steps is totally fine. But if you are an individual who is maybe very overweight or obese, like I was before, I would recommend to not force yourself to do any kind of crazy amount of walking. I would recommend to just walk as much as you're able to. Let's say it's 15 minutes. Maybe you want to do an hour and a half because you have a certain expectation of yourself. But 15 minutes is all that you can do. So make that 15 minutes that you do a consistent, sustainable habit for yourself, where every day you walk for 15 minutes. And by doing that, you allow yourself to create that tremendous consistency and a feeling of control. So next week, maybe you're going to walk for 20 minutes. And that's how you're going to ramp up to walk how much you want to walk. But if you can't walk a certain amount, don't let somebody like me tell you got to walk 10,000 steps. You don't have to. Walk as much as you're able to, create sustainability in that, create a new baseline for yourself, and increase it over time to the point where you feel you're able to currently do it at. I appreciate everybody for being here. If you're getting value so far from this video, from this live stream, drop a fire emoji down below while I sip my water. You're proud to tell me that I helped you start on your weight loss journey. You lost a total of 9 pounds since you started following me. That's amazing. That makes me feel great. I love it. Congratulations. I can't see your name because it says Facebook user, but whoever you are who just said that you lost 9 pounds so far, congratulations. That's amazing. It makes me feel great just having the ability to encourage you or anybody else to just start taking a priority, take themselves and their health as a priority and just do something that will help you feel better. It's not just about the weight loss, it's about being healthy and just living a life that you deserve. It's not just a number on the scale, it's so much more than that. What do I think about the Mediterranean diet? It's amazing. Tons of seafood, vegetables. Listen, if any kind of diet is has regular food, is not overly processed, doesn't have you rely on any kind of supplements, specific meals, it's a great diet, you know? Whereas when you look at stuff like keto, it's not that sustainable because it's just not sustainable. You can't eat carbs. You got to eat a high amount of fat. You can't stick to it when you go out for like a party, for vacation, stuff like that, somebody's house. But the Mediterranean diet is great if you want to do it. Tons of choices in there. A lot of, vegetables, leafy greens, seafood. It's great. How do I manage going out to dinner at a restaurant with family? So the biggest mentality, most important piece of the mindset behind this is that a single meal will never get you to your goal. Even eating perfectly for a single week will not get you to your goal. So in that regard, a single meal won't get you off track. So don't let a single meal that you're having have a determining effect on your mentality and your approach going forward. So whatever meal that you had, maybe you're going to overindulge a little bit. It's totally fine. Just get back on track the next day and just start doing things like you were doing before that meal. That will keep you on track way better. But as far as preparing for that meal, I would just say save the bulk of your calories for that meal for that day. If you're going out in the evening, save like 50% of your calories for that meal because you will likely go over them. Limit liquid calories from alcohol, especially when you're going out, because you likely might have a few drinks. It's normal. Stick to more. Make sure your plate of food has a protein on it, like a leaner protein, like chicken, maybe it's turkey, like a fish, lean cut of steak. Make sure your plate has some kind of vegetables, and then put some carbs next to your plate. Be careful with the appetizers because the appetizers and the dessert is usually what has the most amount of calories, or a lot of calories that we tend to pick on because it's delicious. And try to focus on your main entree. Make sure your main entree, like I said, has protein and vegetables and some kind of carbs. That's it. Don't worry about it. Get back on track the next day and you'll be absolutely fine. Paleo diet, I don't like it personally. I mean, there's a lot of good food choices from the foods that we get now. I mean, yeah, the meat's fine and stuff like that, but there's nothing special about the paleo diet. Is it sustainable for the vast majority of people? I mean, it's more sustainable than keto, but it's up to the person. I'm not a big fan of the paleo diet. It's got some good food choices in there, but you're probably better off taking some food choices from the paleo diet and just applying it to what you're eating now. Then you take a few things that work for different diets, and maybe combine it to your own thing. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. What do I think of food journals? So journaling your food is one of the most underrated habits for consistency, weight loss, or weight gain, whichever one is your goal, and self accountability. If you don't journal your food, whether it's on a piece of paper, on an app, on your phone, anywhere, if you don't journal your food, you can't make any changes because you have no concrete evidence of what you were doing. So how can you adjust your calories? Why people tend to maybe do a lot more cardio because they're not losing weight? They're eating right, but they think they're eating right. There's no journaling, there's no concrete evidence. So why increase or decrease something if you have no concrete numbers, no consistency in your food because you have no journal? So if you journal food, then you can start making changes appropriately. But journaling food is extremely underrated. It's extremely important, but it's not that easy. People want to do the easiest thing, it's not journaling. But if you can do anything, if you have no idea about what calories you should be eating, what you should be eating, if you just journal what you're eating now, you'll be a lot more self-accountable. And as a result of journaling your food, you'll be able to make better choices going forward because you're more self-accountable. So journaling food is extremely, extremely important. You've tried keto as a means to lose weight. You lost 10 pounds in about 2 weeks. That's awesome. What are some low impact exercises you can do to get started being more athletic? Lowest impact is probably walking, riding the bike, maybe some upper body curls, low impact. Any kind of strength training that is not like high intensity is very low impact, depending on, maybe squats a bit more high impact. But just as far as reading you doing keto, it's great that you start to get more healthy for yourself. But doing keto, just know that it will probably not be the most sustainable thing going forward in the future. So just know that. So you might as well just start to educate yourself about different food choices that aren't keto, because you will likely not be doing keto for years to come, maybe even months to come. And when that time comes, you want to be prepared so that when you stop doing keto, you don't put the weight back on because you couldn't prepare for it ahead of time. Recommendations on tools or methods to track calorie intake. MyFitnessPal, the free version, is totally fine. It works great for me, for my clients, for a lot of people. When trying to focus on calorie reduction, why am I hungrier some days than others? One day I could eat, be totally fine. So calories are the most important thing that makes somebody, or the only thing that makes somebody gain fat or lose fat. But hormones, stress levels, your sleep schedule affects your ability to stick to calories or calorie deficit or calories in general. So don't only look at calories as the only thing that matters in the bigger picture. Calories facilitate fat loss, fat gain. But what influences calories? Your stress levels. Are you stressing out at work? Maybe some things are going on in your personal life. How's your sleep? Maybe you're getting 2 hours of sleep this week compared to maybe 7 hours the previous week. How are your hormones doing? You know, all of these things go into the effect of how they influence your caloric intake. That's what's most important. And don't always expect to feel the same way you do on Tuesday as you do on Wednesday. It's not going to happen. You're going to be up and down all the time, usually, because people's lives change, people's daily schedules change. But as long as you're consistently going in the right direction, you might have a lot of peaks and valleys. But if it evens out, averages out consistently over a long period of time, relatively in the right direction, you'll be fine. But hormones, stress levels, sleep, anxiety, whatever it is that's going on right now, definitely impacts calories. And calories are not the only thing that you should be focused on. Sleep is crucially important. Hormones, especially for women. Women have a lot of hormonal things that happen than guys do, but it still all matters. Absolutely. Do I suggest a diet reboot? I'm not really sure what a diet reboot is. I don't suggest any kind of specific diets. I would suggest a nutritional understanding reboot, if you want to call it that. But you don't need a reboot. Just the same way you don't need a detox or a cleanse. You just have to understand calories, understand what foods are better for you and your goals, and make better choices like that. See what foods you like to eat, see what foods you don't like to eat, Find some recipes that you enjoy that are quick and easy and relatively better for your goals, and go from there. But as far as a reboot, especially a diet reboot, um, it sounds, unnecessary. So you definitely don't need that. How can you be a client? If you want to be a client, you can shoot me a message on Facebook. You can type in 2022, or you can shoot me an email at Alex Solomon coaching, Alex Solomon coaching at gmail.com. Shoot me a message or email on that email, and we'll just talk about it. So I did walking. Is it like a brisk walk or speed walk to burn fat? The pace that I personally walked and still walk is it's fast enough to not be like a leisure walk, but it's slow enough to still give me the ability to maintain a conversation. That's my pace. It's not like a super slow walk where kind of like dragging your feet, but it's not fast enough to the point where I'm sweating profusely because I'm power walking. It's in the middle. Thoughts on YouTube step videos? Um, some of my clients show me those step videos on YouTube. If they help you get your steps in the house, it's fine. Some kind of steps are better than no steps all the time. And especially if it's sustainable and doable for you, by all means do it. Could you be under eating? Too much of a calorie deficit? I'm not sure what you mean by if you're not losing weight, could you be under eating? No. If you're in a calorie deficit consistently, you're going to lose weight. What's likely happening is you might be in too strict of a calorie deficit, end up overeating certain days throughout the week, which as an average puts you in a caloric maintenance. That's probably what's happening if I'm understanding this. But if you can't retain energy in the form of fat if your body needs energy to sustain itself. It's going to have to use it from your fat. So you can't undereat and not lose fat. So if you're in a true calorie deficit consistently over at least a week or two, you will lose fat. So you're likely under eating severely, which is followed by overeating, which as an average puts you at a caloric maintenance as the average for the week. Non-aspartame, 0-calorie drinks besides water. Maybe sugar-free almond milk, if you like that. I drink a lot of artificial sweeteners. I use some water seasoning inside my water sometimes. Seltzer, stuff like that. What's the motivation to stay consistent every single day? I love that question. So I had a coaching session with my clients a few days ago about motivation. And this is one of the most important coaching calls that I've had. And as far as motivation, you should never rely on feeling motivated, whether it's by amping yourself up on pre-workouts or caffeine, watching motivational videos, I don't know, having somebody else hype you up. That's very short-lived. It's not going to be consistent. It's not going to be sustainable. So you don't even try to feel that way every single time, or don't expect yourself to feel that way every single time. It's not going to happen. Probably 90% plus of the time, you will not feel motivated. So what you should do is have underlying things that keep you on track. Have your non-negotiables every single day. Things that you do every single day that are very simple, relatively better for your goals, and it keeps you retain that feeling of control. You got to have that feeling of control so you have that momentum going forward. Because when motivation isn't there, and it's not going to be there most of the time, so you might as well acknowledge that and realize it's going to happen. You have your non-negotiables. You have the simple things you do every single day that you follow no matter what. Your habits, right? You can also reflect on the progress that you've made over the last period of time. Realize to yourself why you're doing this in the first place. Realize that and ask yourself, why am I doing this in the first place? Look at your photos from maybe 2 months ago or a year ago to where you are now. Maybe your measurements. Maybe try on some clothing and to realign yourself with the ultimate goal. That's what you should do. You should not rely on motivation. And if motivation is there, by all means, use it to the most of its advantage. Do whatever you got to do. But when it's not there, which is probably going to be tomorrow, the next day, you should still have your things that you do every single day that you can rely on, because you can't rely on motivation. That's a fact. Is walking 15 minutes on the treadmill the same as walking 15 minutes around a park? it's not only about the difficulty of the terrain that you're walking on, and some places may have like a slight hill, turns and stuff like that, but it's also the mentality behind walking. Like some people just don't. Most people feel different when they walk on a treadmill versus when they're walking on a in the park outside anywhere, right? Because you have the fresh air makes you feel better. Maybe you end up walking further outside because you feel better because it makes you feel refreshed. Maybe you're talking to somebody. Maybe your pace is a bit faster because you just enjoy it more. So the mental aspect of walking outside should also be considered. But outside you also have different hills, you have different turns. Maybe you stop more. There's more factors thrown in. I personally like walking outside more for a variety of reasons. The biggest reason being that it's not so much about is it more difficult or not for me, is that I enjoy it more. And if I enjoy it more, I'm going to be doing it more consistently over a long period of time. How long did it take me to lose my weight? Around 4 years at 135 pounds. It's not quick. It's not I did it in 3 easy steps. No, it took me a long time because I struggled a lot. I struggled doing things that were right because I did a lot of mistakes in the beginning. But that's why I'm open about it. I appreciate you, Melvin. Thank you. You're down 17 pounds so far, Candy. That's awesome. I'm sorry if I can't get back to everybody. I get a lot of questions on this feed with people asking me questions, so I try to get back to as many people as I possibly can. The diet you stick to is 3 meals, 2 of which are protein and vegetables, and then one has carbs. Thoughts? If it works for you, it works for you. As long as your calories are managed and it's sustainable for you, that's the only thing that matters. Do you like it and is it sustainable? And are your calories managed? If you like it, it's sustainable, and you're actually getting results, do it. You're 52. How can you lose belly fat? So you can definitely lose belly fat by not doing crazy fat targeting workouts. No saran wrap, no apple cider vinegar, no hula hoops. Just lose weight overall. And when you lose weight overall, you lose weight in your belly. But people tend to hold a lot of extra fat around the midsection, maybe the thighs, maybe the butt, maybe your love handles. So that will probably be the last to kind of drop down. So just keep that in mind. I see a lot of motivation questions. Hopefully that what I just described helps. Yeah, MyFitnessPal is good enough. You don't got to get the paid version unless you want to. Any kind of food journaling is going to be beneficial for you. Even if you take a pen and paper and just write it down, that will help you immensely because you will be more self-accountable, and the meals going forward, you will be more aware of, all right, well, I should be eating a bit more of this because I'm keeping myself more accountable because I have a different perspective about what I should be eating. Whereas if you didn't track or journal any of your food, you will likely just eat mindlessly a lot, maybe snack and not even acknowledge it. That's extremely important. And snacking is honestly where a lot of people tend to go over the calories because even people that track calories, they tend to sometimes not track calories that are from snacks because they kind of they're not very honest with themselves. And speaking of honesty, people tend to not be honest with themselves. This is not talked about a lot, and is that when people try to reach a goal, let's say a weight loss goal, for example, they tend to underestimate their caloric intake because they don't track it for whatever reason, and they tend to overestimate their caloric output as far as how much cardio they're doing, how active they are, how many workouts they're doing, or how intense their workouts are. And this crazy overestimation and underestimation tends to just be super inaccurate because they're not honest with themselves. So being honest with yourself about actually how much you're eating, not how much you think you're eating, and how active you are, not how active you think you are, is going to be super beneficial because people that tend to, not be honest with themselves don't see the progress that people that are honest with themselves tend to see. And that's extremely true. So being honest with what you're doing, how much you're doing, even when you don't want to face the truth, it's better for you to say it how it is or write it down how it is than to just keep spinning your wheels in place because you keep being dishonest with yourself. And I used to be in this exact same boat myself before, and it was not a good situation. Are pickles a good snack? Absolutely. Ben Affleck. I'm sure it's not Ben Affleck, but Ben Affleck asks, "Hey, thanks for your time. I'm currently working on my newest movie, The Flash, and they want me to look sharp for the camera. What diet do you recommend for doing movie stunts?" This has to be a joke, but let's say it's not a joke. Let's say it's actually Ben Affleck getting ready for The Flash. Um, in order to do movie stunts, let's say hypothetically you're doing movie stunts, you would have to assess where you're at and where you want to go. So it would be relevant around calories and not a specific diet. So it would be high in protein. I would say at least 1 gram per pound of lean body weight or goal body weight. Um, since a lot of actors they tend to go all in as far as their training and nutrition, I'm guessing you're gonna have a chef if this is actually Ben Affleck. So you want to make sure your chef cooks you a ton of protein with every single meal. If you have to look sharp, I'm guessing you're referring to putting on some muscle and dropping some body fat percentage. So you're probably going to have to cut a lot of your calories from carbs and fats to keep that protein high. You're going to want to strength train probably 5 times a week. And I'm only saying this because you are an actor, maybe like 4 or 5 times a week because you want to kind of do it to the best of your abilities. As far as cardio, I would recommend to do. I'm laughing because it's not Ben Affleck, but just pretending that it is. Um, Maybe get like 10,000 minimum steps per day, but keeping your protein high, strength training. Maybe you want to take some creatine to kind of give you a little bit of a boost because creatine is important, but it's not important if your sleep and nutrition are completely terrible. But if you have all that stuff taken care of, taking creatine will actually help you out a little bit, give you a little bit of an extra edge. But definitely eating high protein, strength training 4 to 5 times a week, getting a minimum of 10,000 steps, maybe even a bit more because the weather is nice, depending where you're at, maybe 12,000 steps a day. But being consistent with that, and especially journaling your food. Or if you have a chef that you only eat from what that chef gives you, make sure your chef gives you food or meals based on the caloric requirements that you should be eating. And that caloric requirement should be based around your projected weight that you want to be at in a certain time period. And once you have the projected weight in a time period, you can calculate your calories and how many calories you would have to eat in order to reach that goal in that certain time period. If that makes sense. Hope that helps, Ben Affleck. My take on intermittent fasting. I've done intermittent fasting for on and off for years. It's great, nothing special. It just helps you reach a calorie deficit by utilizing a time window. Why intermittent fasting works is not because it's magic, it's because you have an extra factor that you have to, extra variable that is thrown into your nutrition, which is time. And you effectively, it's easier for you to hit or be in a calorie deficit because you have less time in a day to eat. And it works best for people who don't like breakfast, especially. So if you like breakfast, it's probably not for you, but it works for a lot of people. It worked for me for a few years. What about legumes? Legumes are fine. They're delicious. Lentils are great. I love them. It seems every coach has a different outlook on the actual nutrition of beans. I had no idea they do, honestly. I mean, beans and legumes are fine. They're great. Tons of fiber, tons of iron, tons of protein, and they're great. Fiber should definitely be looked at in a weight loss phase because you have to feel full and you have to be regular. So fiber keeps you fuller for longer. So having some beans in your nutrition is a great benefit. I don't know what coaches actually say don't eat beans. Have I ever used trekking poles? I'm not sure what trekking poles is. Sounds like going on a Alaskan trekking maybe. What did I eat while bulking? I've never actually bulked like officially. I was just obese and very overweight. But if you're curious about what I was eating when I was very very overweight, like at my heaviest, what didn't I eat? I mean, if that's what you're asking, I'm happy to share with you. And if you're still with me right now and you're still getting value from this video so far, drop a fire emoji down below so I know who's still with me. But let me talk about what I was eating in back in the day when I was 365-ish. So my breakfast, my day started with whatever, maybe a few cookies I could find in the pantry with a bit of milk, you know, and then maybe I had a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel with sausage too and ketchup, uh, washed down by a Dunkin' Donuts large sweet coffee with tons of milk or creamer, one of those. For lunch, it was usually either two Subway footlongs with like chips and soda on the side, or it was um, that 20-piece chicken nugget from McDonald's with fries and soda, or it was like two Big Macs with fries and soda. Um, 3/4 of the way into the day, it was like a Chinese food takeout, like sesame chicken, pork fried rice with egg roll and soup and soda. Maybe it was boneless spare ribs with pork fried rice, fried wontons, and a soup and soda. Whatever lunch special I felt like having. For dinner, it was usually either a slice of pizza, rice ball from a pizzeria, a hero, maybe an additional slice, or it was a Mexican food. But I ate a lot of takeout, honestly. Is walking every day good? Yeah, it's absolutely fine. It's great. It's great for your heart as well. Off days, I mean, walking shouldn't be so difficult that you should need an off day, but if you want to take a day off, take a day off. If you want to walk a bit less, walk a bit less. What's up, Tatiana? You have no self control when shoving crappy food in your mouth once the kids are in bed because it's been a hard day. Any advice? So, you're definitely gonna be very stressed out, taking care of your kids, taking care of your family. So it's an extra stressor. But what's gonna help you out with overeating by eating crappy food, like you're saying, is to not skip meals. If you skip meals throughout the day, you're likely gonna overeat in the evening because your hunger is gonna build up. You're gonna just kind of let loose once you can. Eat meals throughout the day. Manage your cravings. Make sure your last meal of the day is a large meal. Make it like a large salad with protein or vegetables. I mean, salads have protein, maybe tuna in your salad. You know, make sure your last meal of the day is so voluminous that it fills you up for hours. Because if there's a lot of time between your dinner and going to sleep, like say 3 hours or so, that's like 3 hours of a window of opportunity for you to actually snack or have a chance of being hungry. So you want to reduce that window, so maybe eat before or close to bedtime, or make that last meal just larger in volume so it fills you up for as long as possible. But if you're going to be snacking on something, I try to snack on fruit, maybe apples, berries, frozen berries, whatever you feel like eating. Maybe snack on a protein. Could be a Greek yogurt, like a wrap. Maybe it's some leftover protein from dinner, from the previous day, you know. But don't skip meals and make your dinner be larger in volume so that you end up not snacking. My nose is stuffed. What's my method for losing belly fat? Calorie deficit. And I appreciate you, Crystal. Trekking poles is Nordic walking. So it sounds like walking inside the snow. As if that's what it is, it sounds extremely difficult. Probably burn, not probably, but it definitely burns a lot of calories. I've never done it. I would love to try it, but if it's like using those special snow shovel shoes to walk across like deep layers of snow, it sounds very difficult. It sounds like it burns a lot of calories, but I've never tried it. Any advice for third shifters to stay motivated? So I quit my job, my full-time job, while I was working on building my business in January of last year. So I used to work every shift, the first, second, and third shift. And the shifts, you just gotta adjust your eating times. If you're eating in the afternoons on your first shift and the like regular afternoon breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just take those same meals and eat them in the same kind of time frames, but now it's later on in the day, or maybe it's at midnight. Adjust accordingly. It's just the times change, but you still got to eat the same amount of food. So as your schedule changes, change your eating schedule. But as far as motivation, maybe for working out and stuff like that, your energy is not going to be the same. When I used to work the midnight shift, I did not want to work out in the daytime because I was sleeping the entire day. When I used to work the second shift, my energy was everywhere, right? I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to go for a walk. I didn't want to even prepare my food because my energy was shot. So I would suggest to prepare for your second or third shift as much as possible by preparing food on a regular day. Just know going into it, your energy is not going to be the same. But if you don't want to cook, you can still stay motivated by, having some non-negotiables. Maybe have protein with every single meal. Prepare ahead of time as best as possible because again, motivation is not going to be there. I used to work a lot of second and third shifts, and I understand how difficult it is. Fast food is really expensive. Yeah, a lot of it is. Thank you, Lori. Would I say cutting out, eating out makes a big difference in my journey? Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, eating out, you never really have full ultimate control of your calories because you can't tell what somebody else is preparing. You can't tell them I mean, you can kind of adjust the meals at a restaurant, but you're still going to be going over your calories. You can definitely lose weight by eating whatever you want when you go out. It just makes things more difficult. So if there's one thing that you can do to also help you out is prepare all your food at home. It's going to be more difficult, but you have more control over it, which will help you see better results. And I tell my clients all the time, listen, try to focus on preparing most of the meals that you should be eating at home. That's going to help you out tremendously. You've been lifting heavy, walking and eating clean, and feel like you're getting heavier. So don't base your feelings off of something don't judge your progress based on your feelings. You should have definitive and very accurate measurements. Literally measurements, like your body measurements, the how the scale has changed, how much muscle mass you're getting, how your clothes are fitting, your progress photos, how much stronger you're getting, and don't let your feelings dictate, how to adjust your progress because your feelings they're going to change day to day, but the facts of your progression are not going to change. They're going to adjust a little bit, they're going to change a little bit, but not drastically. So don't feel a certain way and just completely change your entire routine. That's unnecessary. Best advice to someone who doesn't see any results over a week. Over a week, yeah. A lot of times you won't see results over a week or 2 weeks. It doesn't mean you should change anything. It means that you should just keep going. A week is a very short, zoomed in time period. It's not nearly long enough to make any kind of adjustments, changes, um, rebooting, whatever it is. A week is a very short period of time. And yeah, you should not change anything by just using a single week. You know, keep going. Definitely, a week is a very short time period. Calorie deficit means a lot less protein. Um, I mean, if you're used, usually calorie deficit just means less consuming more or less calories than your body needs to maintain its weight on. Will that mean less protein? Could be if you're used to eating tons of protein before you went to calorie deficit, but calorie deficit refers to calories and protein has calories. So if that means eating less protein for you, it means eating less protein for you. Just want to say my videos have been a huge help and you eat the oatmeal protein bowls every morning after your workout. That's awesome. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. What do I recommend for someone who can't walk because you need knee surgery? What I do is squat 25 crunches, 50, and start out wall planks, but you still can't lose weight. So In regards to weight loss or fat loss, your primary results are going to come from nutrition. So if you're getting knee surgery, I don't know how the severity of your knee pain. I'll probably not be squatting, or doing any kind of exercises that put your knees or knee in a very compromising position. I would focus mostly on maybe doing upper body exercises, doing core workouts, any kind of leg workouts that don't put pressure on the knee or make it hurt if it hurts currently. But the most of your results are going to come from nutrition. So focus fully, or at least 90% on your nutrition, because you don't you don't even need to go for a walk to lose weight. You could, it's definitely going to help you, but you don't have to, because your nutrition, your calories in compared to your calories out, are going to dictate most of your progress, all of your progress. So focus on nutrition. If you don't want to walk, if you can't walk, um, don't. It's not required by any means. Focus on nutrition. Do a few upper body workouts, core workouts, whatever you want to do. You know, and make sure it's sustainable. Do I count macros? If so, do you use MyFitnessPal? I do use MyFitnessPal. I track my calories and my protein. How much would you adjust or track alcohol when it comes to calorie count? Just include it in your calories. Keep it simple. What are some exercises I did at my heaviest? Um, when I first started out, the only exercises I did was just walking on the treadmill or trying on different exercise routines. Cardio machines. But once I actually started to take my physique a bit more seriously, where I knew that I don't want to do cardio as my primary, as the only way to lose weight, because I started to look very like sickly, like to me, like a very skinny, very not the healthiest. So I'm like, oh, let me try some exercises. I started doing a bunch of machines because I was too insecure to scared to go into the weight room. So I tried doing a bunch of machines. Started to I treated the gym like a buffet. I tried everything. I saw what I liked, what I didn't like. I kind of made my own routine from that. Then I started doing different routines I found online. I started to incorporate more free weights, but it's a journey. As far as what exercise I did at my heaviest, all of them. But definitely no body weight exercises. I was scared of doing those. Yeah, a week is nothing. You need help with quit smoking and lose weight. So I don't know how to help you quit smoking. I help people lose weight and keep it off, but I'm sure there's a lot of different places to help you quit smoking. I'm sure it also goes hand in hand. You know, if you take you know, quitting smoking seriously, it will definitely trickle down into healthy areas of your life, like maybe losing weight. It's definitely going to help it out. What would I tell someone who that seems to always say you messed up, you start on Monday? Start the next day. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for the first day after your birthday, January 1st. Start the next day. It's you're gonna have a lot of days where you don't stay motivated, where you don't stay on track, and just let that day happen and just go back on track the next day. Just resume as soon as you can. If you have a meal that isn't relevant to your liking or good for your goals for breakfast, don't wait till Monday. Just get back on track for lunch, for dinner. Get back on track immediately. It's not going to be the end of the world. If you have any other questions, let me know down below in the comments so I can answer them to the best of my ability. And I appreciate everybody for being here today. Yeah, I don't track calories burned. There's a lot of different variables in calories burned. A lot of the apps are inaccurate. I only focus on calories in and the consistency of the days where I work out or do cardio. So I'll give you an example. I make sure to maintain right now 5 days a week of strength training. That's what I currently like. That's what I do. I walk every single day. Those factors are consistent and constant. Now I'm only focused on the calories in. So it lets me understand it a bit easier. Whereas if I was to focus on the calories in a specific calorie output of every single day, which is not going to be accurate at all, it's too many variables, too many things to juggle, and it's unnecessary. So if you're trying to track your calories out, it's not necessary. So make it easy for yourself. Focus on the calories in. Don't worry about the macros. They're not even that important. The calories, they are important, but not nearly as important as of controlling your calories. Don't track your calories out. If a watch says you burn 500 calories, whatever. Don't pay any mind to it. It's going to be in the range, but it's not that important to you. Water amount, just drink until you're not thirsty. Maybe drink a bit more if you want to feel a bit more full. If you're still with me, drop a fire emoji down below in the comments. You're down 30 pounds in a calorie deficit, eating at home. Let's see. But you have a vacation coming up where you'll be eating out most of the time. Any tips? So for a vacation, enjoy yourself. How often are you going to go on vacation? Maybe a few times a year at most. Just how I've said before, a single week will not get you to your goal. A single week of vacationing won't get you off track. Get back on track the next day. But a few things you can do on vacation is, again, limit liquid calories, probably mostly or a lot of it from alcohol and juices, because vacations people tend to drink a bit more. Explore a bit wherever it is that you're staying, if the area allows you to. Like, go for extra walking, explore a little bit. Take the walking route instead of maybe the car route or the bus route. Get a bit more steps in by doing that. You get to be more in alignment with your goals because you're getting more steps in, but you also get to enjoy yourself a bit more because you're exploring a new area. And make sure you got your protein and vegetables with most of your meals at the very least. And enjoy yourself. Don't stress it. North Carolina, what's up? Carbs aren't bad, but you're pre-diabetic. I was also pre-diabetic. Okay. So should you cut out pasta, rice, bread, etc.? That seems to be difficult, not very sustainable in the long run. Don't cut it out. Unless you find yourself severely overeating on pasta, rice, and bread, I would limit it. I wouldn't cut it out. I would focus on more voluminous foods, more fruits, more vegetables, more proteins, and save your pasta, rice, and bread for like the last options. Not eliminate them, just reduce them, because calories are king. Calories should be managed. Where you get your calories from matters, right? Because a calorie from protein, a gram of protein, a gram of carbs will both have 4 calories, but they work differently. So focus on the calories and don't eliminate. Just limit it accordingly to your calorie requirements, to your maybe food choices that you like, maybe food choices that you tend to overeat on. If you find yourself always maybe going down a very dark path of overeating tons of bread or tons of pasta, then maybe you want to not be near that food because that food triggers you in a certain way. Doesn't mean you should stop eating it, just maybe realize it a bit differently. It's not that food is bad for you, it's what the feelings you get from maybe the food being in front of you. Like French fries, for example. I eat an entire plate of fries. So I just make it a goal not to have fries in front of me. That's it. Not that carbs are bad. It's just that, they're delicious. Badger milk. No soda for you for 2 months now. Your joints feel better and you don't snort anymore. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. If you're used to drinking like full sugar soda and now you cut it out, you will definitely make it easier for yourself to lose weight and maybe feel better because you have just a large amount of calories that you're not consuming anymore. Plus, the calories from soda are probably not going to fill you up that much, if at all. How far should a person walk every day? Aim for maybe 5, 6, 7, 8,000, whatever you're able to do. Just make sure it's consistent. Walk before doing weights or vice versa. I would always do cardio after weights and take most of your energy and your focus and prioritize that energy and focus on the weight training. And then afterwards, do cardio. Because if you do cardio beforehand, you're going to be a bit more exhausted and your weight training sessions won't have the same amount of intensity and energy. How do you determine your calorie deficit? A couple of ways. You can use a TD. You can type in TDEE calculator into Google, which will give you a tons of different options. You can choose whatever calculator pops up. They're all very similar. That's a it's a good enough option. It's not perfect. If you want to find or figure out your calories much more accurately, this will be a lot more difficult. You can literally track every single thing that you eat or consume every day, liquid calories, non or solid foods, and be as accurate as you can for at least a few weeks, maybe a month, and track meticulously every day how much you eat and see how it reflects your weight fluctuations. Once your weight stops fluctuating and you see exactly how much you're eating, you found your calorie maintenance. And once you understand your calorie maintenance, you'll see, you know, at what caloric limit did your weight stop fluctuating? From that point on, you can reduce maybe 2, 3, 4, 500 calories, depending how fast you want to lose weight from that number. But it's more difficult, it's more time consuming. Most people won't do this. But if you want to do that, that's an option for you. TDEE stands for total daily energy expenditure. You always heard trainers do cardio first, then weight train. So you find it interesting. They probably say do cardio first in terms of maybe get some blood flowing. Maybe if you feel cold, especially if it's cold outside, you just don't want to maybe lift weights when you feel all squeaky. So maybe you want to do 5-10 minutes of a very light cardio. But as far as like an actual cardio session, like medium intensity or a low intensity cardio session, save that for afterwards. You want to have your um, all of your energy or most of it be used for strength training. You find salads boring. Do you eat them often or find other sources for your vegetables? I eat salads all the time. I make tuna salads, I put corn in my salads, beans in my salads, cilantro, onions, different seasonings, a bit of olive oil, some balsamic vinegar. Always have not chicken, protein in my salads. Um, Tomatoes, cucumbers, pickles, capers. It's always different things that I put into my salads, and it's up to you to make it taste different. So switch things up. Maybe have 3, 4 salads that you kind of rotate through to keep it more interesting. But salads are key because they're very voluminous, they're lower in calories, and they would be very beneficial for weight loss goals. And just getting your micronutrients in and some fiber. Would you say start with a 250, 500 calorie deficit first? Yeah, sure. It sounds fun. 250 calories, start with that, amp it up to like 350. And the details don't matter so much. You just don't want to do like a 1,000 or 1,500 calorie deficit. It's not going to be very sustainable. Is a sauna good for losing weight? Can you tell me the benefits of using it? So the sauna is great for losing weight, but not fat, because just because your body's sweating doesn't mean your fat's being burned. So the sauna could be great for recovery, like muscular recovery, maybe just feeling better mentally. But as far as actual fat loss, like fat tissue decreasing, the sauna does nothing for it. You will sweat out a lot, so you will lose some weight, but it's going to be water weight. As soon as you eat a bit, drink a bit, you're going to put it back on, which is to be expected. So the sauna is not meant for actual fat loss. Like fighters use a sauna to drop weight before a fight because they drop a lot of water weight. They go do the weigh-ins, they drink some water, some electrolytes, and they blow back up because they put the weight back on quickly. They put the weight back on, not the fat back on, because they didn't lose fat in the first place. So sauna is not for fat loss; it's just for water weight loss. So do it if you want to. What do I do for sweet cravings? I do hard candy, gum, Greek yogurts. I do sugar-free Jello. I put calorie-free syrup into my juices. I do smoothies. Low-calorie ice cream is my favorite. Lower-calorie sweets like brownies, desserts. Quest Nutrition has a bunch of them. And yeah, I saw somebody asking about being clients. Yeah, if you want to be a client of mine, just shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger, saying just say 2022, or if you want to shoot me an email, type or write me an email to alexsolomoncoaching@gmail.com. I'll reach back out to you. We'll see if we'll even be a good fit to work together. But if you want to be one of my clients, you can do that. And I appreciate everybody for being here. If you've gotten value so far from this video, I know it's been a long time, but I appreciate you being here. Drop a fire emoji down below so I know this video was relevant to you. You actually got some kind of value from it. And if you want to see me keep doing these lives and Q&As, let me know in the comments below what other kind of content you want to see, and I'll see you next time.